Your 3% rise that you just got is actually a pay cut. Think about it. Inflation is at like 4%. You got that raise, but you're still spending 2 hours commuting every single time you go to work. You're still working on weekends and you're still exhausted. And just like that, 2025 is just gone. I know because I lived this. For 7 years, I told myself that this is just how life is. And then I turned 30 and something shifted within me. And I watched people a lot younger than me who are way less qualified than me making more money online. And I literally thought, like, what on earth am I doing? So I literally made a decision then and there that something had to change in my life. I stopped wishing for things to happen. I stopped dreaming and I actually started taking action. I started learning. I made my first sale on something completely different to my 9 to 5 job. And I realized that I already had everything that I needed. I just had to stop dreaming and actually take that next step. And you need to do this too. So in the next 7 minutes, I'm breaking down the exact 5 skills that you probably already have from your 9 to 5 that people will actually pay you for. And at the end, I'm giving you a free resource depending on where you're at. But here's the thing. Most people will watch this video and feel inspired for like 10 minutes and then do nothing about it for the next 2 years. So just don't be most people. I'm in my 30s working as an optometrist and I chose it for stability, if I'm honest, and not actual passion. I spent years being stuck, coasting in that same cycle: sleep, work, eat, repeat, gym. I'd scroll on Instagram all day thinking that, is this really it? And I just felt too old to start over again. I was scared of what people would think, how they would judge me. And what changed for me was that I literally just stopped waiting to feel ready. I stopped waiting for permission. I don't know whose permission I was waiting for, but I stopped. I began learning to use AI to help me build while I was still working in my 9 to 5. I haven't quit yet. I haven't made a massive investment. I haven't wasted months learning some fancy tech. And, it worked for me. I didn't need some brand new skill. I literally just repackaged what I already knew. And you don't have to be an expert in something to help somebody else. You just need to have some knowledge, a couple of steps ahead of someone who doesn't know what you already know. So let's start with skill 1. Simplifying chaos. You spend your entire day literally explaining prescriptions to confused patients. You know how to calm someone down who's freaking out about their diagnosis. You really know how to break down medical jargon into plain, simple English so the other person can understand. You think that this is just kind of part of your job, but it's not if you think about it deeper. That's essentially coaching, and you can literally get paid more than $200 per hour for this skill. Health coaches, wellness consultants, patient advocates, they're all selling that same thing that you do for essentially free at work every single day. So the psychology here is that people are drowning in information. They don't need more data. They just need someone to make sense of it. And you do this every single day. So, just think about it for a second. What if you could get paid for it? What if you could package it? Health coaching for overwhelmed patients. Skill number 2, problem solving. Every shift, you're troubleshooting broken systems. You're managing different problems. You're handling different issues every day. You're dealing with difficult people. You've learned how to think on your feet without thinking twice. You've learned how to find solutions while you're under pressure and make decisions even when you don't have the full information or when someone can't give you enough information. And, that's not just doing your job. This is essentially strategic consulting. And on a wider level, businesses will pay like over $5,000 for that. So the mindset shift here is that you think it's normal. You think it's ordinary because you do it every single day. It comes as second nature to you. But the majority of people freeze when problems hit. But you've actually been trained to solve that. So it's the same skill that you could apply in a different market and actually add a price tag to that. And skill 3 is empathy. You know how to read people. You've taught yourself to pick up on what they're not saying. You can understand and feel their fears before they even voice them. You can make someone feel heard even when you're buried with 20 patients back to back, because you've just trained yourself to do that. What most people don't get is that emotional intelligence is the foundation of every service-based business. Therapists, coaches, consultants, they all need a level of this. And essentially, you've actually probably been developing this for years without even realizing it. Now, here's the mistake that a lot of people make. People try to learn empathy from a course, and you can't. It's developed through experience and from you taking action. Through thousands of interactions with real life patients in real situations, you already have it. So you could package this as, wellness coaching or consulting for health startups that need a human first approach, for example. And moving on to skill 4, which is time management. You juggle the 2-hour commute every now and then when you have to do it. You know how to deal with a demanding job with like 0 breaks and downtime. You're juggling hours commuting every day. You have a demanding job with like kind of 0 downtime. There's life responsibilities, maybe kids or aging parents. And, over life, you've learned how to actually maximize every minute of your life, of your day. You actually probably know how to prioritize things and manage your energy and not just your time. And this essentially makes you pretty much an expert in productivity, but you just haven't thought of it that way and you haven't put that label on it yet. And that's exactly what the market needs. People are actually desperate to learn how to get more done without burning out. And you might already be doing it. So you could package this as maybe a productivity system for busy professionals, or time management for working mums, or energy optimization for people who work shifts. But you just haven't thought that you could do this yet. And lastly, skill 5, which is resilience. You've survived that Sunday night dread for the past 10 years. You've had the burnout. You've felt that feeling of feeling stuck in a cycle and, it's felt impossible to break. You've been scrolling on social media all day thinking that, is this all there is to life? You've been thinking, am I too old to start over again? But you're still here. You're still showing up. You're still searching for something, watching this video or watching other videos online. You're still kind of showing up for yourself, but you're subconsciously not aware that you're doing that. The truth here that nobody actually tells you is that your struggle, that is your story. And that's your most powerful marketing tool. Nobody wants to learn from someone who's never struggled in their life before. They want someone who gets it, who's been in the trenches, who knows what it feels like to actually be stuck or feel stuck, but actually keep going anyway. So how would you use resilience? You'd use it by sharing your journey. You document everything that you've done, all the transitions that you made. Be the proof that it is possible for normal people like us. Not overnight millionaires, not people with so much money or trust funds or, tech degrees. I'm just a regular person, but I'm choosing to do something different with my life because I don't want to be in my 9 to 5 for the next 30 years. So here's the thing that nobody actually wants to hear. Clarity without action is just hallucination. You can watch this entire video, you can feel inspired for like 10 minutes. You can screenshot the 5 skills, you can write them down. You can save it to a watch list, but then you just forget about it. You do absolutely nothing with it. And a year from now, you'll be in the exact same place as you are now. Still commuting your 2-hour days, you're still exhausted, you're still stuck in that loop, you're still thinking someday I'll do something different, and you're still wondering if you're too old to start. But what if you can pick one of the 2 paths I'm about to give you and actually move forward? Not perfect action, just action. So here are your 2 options. Path 1. If you're just starting to explore this, you want more than your 9 to 5, but you're not even sure what your offer would be yet. You need to figure out your freedom number, the exact income that you would need to replace your 9 to 5. You need to identify which of your skills is most profitable. And you actually need to understand how AI works without getting too overwhelmed or over relying on it. If that's you, then comment roadmap right now and I'll send you my free 7-day email series. So that's path 1. And path 2, is if you already know your business idea and you already have done your research a little bit and you know your ideal customer avatar, you know what you want to teach and you know how you want to help and who you want to help, but you're just stuck on the techie side. Maybe the landing pages, course platforms, email automations, all the back-end stuff that takes months to actually learn when you're already exhausted from your 9 to 5, or maybe you've got kids or you're managing a family at the same time. You just don't feel like or have enough energy to do the back-end stuff. If that's you, then comment build. I have a done-for-you service that handles everything, and I'm only taking 4 women per month to get you the best results possible. So comment build, and I'll send you the waitlist for more info. So that's path 2. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. And I just want you to remember that you already have what you need. You have the skills, you have the experience, you have your own unique story. The only thing missing is a system to package all of that. So if this was valuable to you, hit that like and subscribe button for more real talk about building while still working and managing your 9 to 5. Don't forget to comment either roadmap or build so I can send you your next step. And yeah, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.